Okay. Good morning. In this session, let us try to analyze another important concept of demand. It will be on elasticity of demand. In this topic, let us discuss the meaning of elasticity of demand, different types of elasticity of demand and its measurement, methods of measuring elasticity of demand, etc. So, what do you mean by elasticity of demand? Elasticity is a measure of the change in quantity demanded due to a change in the level of either price or income or prices of related goods or changes in advertising expenditure. You know very well there are several factors determining demand. Based on these factors influencing demand, we can classify different types of elasticity of demand. So elasticity measures the changes in demand due to a changes in the level of price and other factors, or it measures the degree of responsiveness of demand due to a change in the level of all these factors that just I have highlighted. So based on different factors determining demand, we can classify mainly four different types of elasticity of demand. One is price elasticity of demand based on the factor price. Second is income elasticity of demand based on income elasticity of demand. Number 3, cross elasticity of demand. Wherever we make use of the word cross, it implies the changes in the price of related goods. Either it may be complementary or substitute. Number 4, advertising elasticity. Advertising elasticity of demand. This elasticity is based on the changes in the advertising expenditure to measure the level of or degree of elasticity. Let us try to discuss one by one. Today, let us try to analyze the price elasticity of demand. Price elasticity of demand is a measure of the change in quantity demanded due to a change in the level of price. So price is the influencing factor here. Then how to measure it? Price elasticity measures the degree of responsiveness of demand due to a change in the level of price. We can make use of two approaches here. One is the proportionate method, another is percentage method. In order to measure the price elasticity of demand, we can make use of two approaches. One is proportionate method, another is percentage method. In both the methods, you can get the same measurement, the same value you will get. So this formula can be used. Price elasticity EP is equal to proportionate change in quantity demanded divided by proportionate change in price. Proportionate change in quantity demanded divided by proportionate change in price. So this ratio can be further expanded. How can you write the upper portion of this ratio? That is numerator. Proportionate change in quantity demanded can be expanded like this. Change in quantity demanded divided by original quantity of demand. Similarly, proportionate change in price can be written like this. Change in price divided by original price. Therefore, EP is equal to change in quantity demanded divided by original quantity of demand. This whole is divided by change in price divided by original price. So, price elasticity of demand can be measured like this. Change in quantity demanded divided by original quantity of demand. This whole is divided by change in price divided by original price. Symbolically, you can write like this. EP, that is price elasticity of demand, is equal to change in quantity demanded delta Q. Delta always indicates changes. Delta Q, original quantity of demand Q, this whole is divided by change in price delta P divided by original price. We can further simplify it. EP is equal to delta Q upon Q divided by delta P upon P. Further, EP is equal to delta Q upon Q into P by delta P, reciprocal of this ratio. Finally, bring delta one side. EP is equal to delta Q upon delta P into P by Q. So this is the final formula which can be used to measure the price elasticity of demand. Therefore, price elasticity measures the changes in quantity demanded due to a change in the level of price, or it measures the degree of responsiveness of demand due to a change in the level of price. This formula can be used to measure the price elasticity of demand. Now, let us have an example to measure the price elasticity of demand by using this particular formula. Let us have an example. When the price of a commodity was rupees 20, quantity demanded was say 50 units. When price increases to rupees 30, the quantity demanded contracts to 25 units. If suppose this is the data given, price is, when price was rupees 20, quantity demanded was 50 units. When price increases to rupees 30, quantity demanded contracts to 25 units only. Then what is price elasticity of demand? EP is equal to, we can apply this formula, delta Q upon delta P into P by Q. Delta Q means change in quantity demanded. 50 became 25. So 25 unit is the change. Delta P, change in price. 20 became 30. So 10 rupee is the change in price into P, original price 20. Then original quantity Q. Original quantity demanded 50 units. So 10 ones are 2. 2. 2 by 2 equal to 1. So here the price elasticity of demand is equal to 1. It is the type of unitary elastic demand. Unitary elastic. Later we will discuss different types of price elasticity of demand. Based on the value of price elasticity of demand, you can classify different types. If your value is 1, that will be unitary elastic demand type. Now let us study different types of price elasticity of demand. Types of price elasticity of demand. Based on the degree of responsiveness of demand due to a change in the level of price, we can classify 5 different types of price elasticity of demand. One is perfectly elastic demand. Perfectly elastic demand. Totally, we have 5 types of price elasticity of demand. Among them, 2 are extreme types. One is perfectly elastic demand. Another is perfectly inelastic demand. These two are the extreme types of price elasticity of demand. Perfectly elastic demand. What do you mean by this? If a very small change in price leads to a tremendous change in quantity demanded, that type is known as perfectly elastic demand. Here, changes in price may be negligible, but the changes in quantity demanded will be infinity or not measurable or not countable. Therefore, the value of EP, that is price elasticity of demand, will be infinity in this case. A very small change in price leads to a tremendous change in quantity demanded. And the changes in demand is not measurable. Therefore, we will make use of this symbol, that is infinity symbol. Price elasticity of demand will be infinity in this case. Diagram is like this. We can have OX, OY, quantity demanded, and here price. You can observe the shape of the demand curve. Demand curve will be perfectly elastic type. That is, it will be parallel to x-axis. DD is the demand curve here. Usually, the shape of the demand curve will be downward sloping, but in case of perfectly elastic demand, demand curve will be parallel to x-axis or perpendicular to y-axis. We can observe the diagram. So this is one. Value of elasticity, that is price elasticity, will be infinity in this case. If the demand curve is parallel to x-axis, you can't measure the changes in the level of demand. Then the second type is perfectly inelastic demand. Perfectly inelastic demand. So another extreme case. Here, whatever may be the changes in the level of price, the quantity demanded remains the same. It means demand is not at all responsive to the changes in the level of price. If there is no change in the level of demand, the value of price elasticity of demand EP will be equal to 0. It means demand will lose its elasticity completely. Then what will be the shape of the demand curve? I will draw the diagram. Demand curve will be parallel to y-axis or perpendicular to x-axis. Quantity demanded and here price. You can observe the shape of the demand curve. Demand curve will be parallel to y-axis in this way. So whatever may be the changes in the level of price, quantity demanded remains the same. If price is OP, quantity demanded will be OD. If price is OP1, once again OD. OP2, once again it remains the same. So whatever may be the changes in the level of price, the quantity demanded remains the same in this type. Therefore, the value of elasticity will be 0. That is, demand will lose its elasticity completely. So these two are the extreme types of price elasticity of demand. Perfectly elastic demand and perfectly inelastic demand are the extreme types of price elasticity of demand. Then the third type is elastic demand or relatively elastic demand. Elastic demand or relatively elastic demand. Here, the proportionate change in quantity demanded will be greater than the proportionate change in price. Therefore, demand is highly responsive to the changes in the level of price. Since demand is highly responsive to the changes in the level of price, EP will be greater than 1 in this type. In case of elastic demand, the value of price elasticity of demand will be always greater than 1. We can observe the shape of the demand curve. Draw OX and OY. Quantity demanded and here price. So demand curve having lesser slope. This will be your demand curve. When price was at OP level, quantity demanded was at OQ level. When price decreases to OP1, the quantity demanded extends to OQ1. We can observe the changes in price and quantity demanded. Changes in quantity demanded is QQ1, but the changes in price is only PP1. Therefore, the proportionate change in quantity demanded is greater than the proportionate change in price. Demand is highly responsive to the changes in the level of price. Therefore, the value of price elasticity of demand EP will be always greater than 1 in this type. The number 4. Fourth type will be relatively inelastic demand, or simply inelastic demand. What do you mean by this? Here, the proportionate change in quantity demanded will be lesser than the proportionate change in price. It means demand is not so responsive to the changes in the level of price. Demand will change, but the changes in demand will be lesser than the changes in the level of price. Demand is not so responsive to the changes in the level of price. Therefore, the value of EP will be less than 1 in this type. Value of price elasticity of demand will be lesser than 1 in this case. Demand curve will be a more steepened curve. Slope of the demand curve will go on increase as the value of elasticity decreases. Quantity demanded, and here price. You can observe the shape of the demand curve. This is DD, and price was at OP level. Quantity demanded was at OQ level. When price decreases to OP1, the quantity demanded extends, no doubt, but the changes in quantity demanded will be only OQ1, a smaller portion. You can observe the changes in price is PP1. So the proportionate change in quantity demanded is lesser than the proportionate change in price. So in case of inelastic demand, the value of price elasticity of demand will be always lesser than 1. Now the last type, number 5, will be unitary elastic demand. Number 5. Unitary elastic demand. In this type, the proportionate change in quantity demanded will be equal to the proportionate change in price. So both the proportions are equal. For example, if price decreases by 10%, the quantity demanded will extend by 10%. So both the proportions or percentages are equal. Therefore, the value of EP will be equal to 1 in this type. Since both the proportions are equal, that is, changes in quantity demanded and changes in price are equal, the value of EP will be equal to 1. So here, proportionate change in quantity demanded will be equal to proportionate change in price, or percentage change in quantity demanded is equal to percentage change in price. We can observe the diagram, and what will be the shape of the demand curve, OX, OY. Demand curve will be a rectangular hyperbola. So in mathematical term, we can say like this: quantity demanded, here price. Demand curve will be a rectangular hyperbola. This will be the shape of the demand curve in case of unitary elastic demand. So when price was at OP level, quantity demanded was at OQ level. When price decreases to OP1, the quantity demanded extends to OQ1. So here QQ1 is equal to PP1. It means the proportionate or the percentage change in quantity demanded is equal to the proportionate or percentage change in price level. So both the proportions are equal, and you will get the value of price elasticity as 1 always. And the demand curve will be a rectangular hyperbola like this. Yes, this shape is known as the rectangular hyperbola of the demand curve. So these are the 5 different types of price elasticity of demand. In our next session, let us study the remaining 2 types, income elasticity, then cross elasticity, and advertising elasticity. So with this I am concluding. Thank you.